Welcome to episode 4 of the How to Buy Your First Home series. Make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe to my channel so that you guys are not missing out when I post these real estate videos.
0, 1. Let's get started.
Episode 4, we are going to be talking about getting our ducks in a row. This is probably the most exciting part, or I should say the only exciting part of like the home buying process, because as a first-time home buyer for the last 5 to 6 months, we have been prepping for this very moment. We are officially starting the home buying process today. If you have made it this far, congratulations. It took a lot of hard work and dedication to get yourself here, and you should be very proud of yourself. From my point of view, I feel like this step is going to be the last fun step of the whole process, because things might start getting a little stressful. Buying a home is not easy. When Matt and I first started this home buying process, we were stressed. We didn't always agree on things. We were really confused a lot. We kind of had no idea like what we were getting ourselves into, really. So it was a very stressful process for us. So make sure you guys keep your mental health in check right now, because we're gonna need you to stay sane for this whole thing. You're gonna have to be sane in order to buy a house, literally. It's the law. A recap on the previous videos. Basically, we've been prepping for this moment right here. We're ready to buy a house, but now what? Now what? Now where do we go from here? How do we start this process? How do we start looking at homes and talking to people? Well, we need to get professionals involved. And professionals as in we need to start speaking to a lender, and then we also need to probably have somebody like myself, a realtor, and then it's probably also another good idea to keep an attorney, or if you have a lawyer, just to keep them on speed dial, just so that you can answer or you can ask any legal questions that you may need answered that you might not understand. It's always good to have an attorney on speed dial, for real, especially in cases like real estate. The first thing, I guess, that we are going to start talking about is getting our information correct and ready for when we need it. The first thing that we are going to do is we're going to need to make sure that we can access our pay stubs. So a lot of people's pay stubs are online, and then a lot of people's get mailed to them every week or every other week, depending on what your pay period is. So we are going to want to keep at least like 90 days of that, just in case. It'll just be a lot shorter of a process if you already have all your ducks in a row. You can also print 3 months of your bank statements. That's typically what lenders are going to ask for. So might as well get prepped by either downloading the last 3 months, or you can always just print them off. They want your last 2 years of your tax returns. So your W-2s, they're going to want to see 2 years worth of those. Depending, that's like the minimum of it. Sometimes they can ask for a lot of things if they need to verify your income. Whatever you used to do taxes on, if you use the same website, make sure that you guys are saving a copy of your W-2s of your tax returns, because you want to make sure that you're going to need those for when you're buying a house. We also need to make sure that we have the money saved up for our down payment, our closing costs. We need to make sure that we have that money in a safe place. So whether it's in your savings account, something that you are not going to touch and that you're not going to be using on the daily. This needs to be money set aside specifically for your house buying journey. Down payment and closing costs are a really big thing. I say make sure that you have like $600 to $2,400 saved up for your inspections, your appraisals, and your EMD, which is your earnest money deposit. those are actually going to be expenses that you are going to be doing while you are buying your home. So during the loan process, you are going to be spending money on getting a house inspected, a house appraised, and you're gonna, use it earnest money deposit, if like a good faith offer, if that is something that you are willing to do, unless you're using cash. Like, this is mainly for like if you're borrowing money. I still recommend that even if you are buying a house with cash, that you still get that house appraised and you still get the house inspected, because you want to know what the house is worth and you want to know what's wrong with the house too before you're buying it with cash, right? When we actually do start talking to a lender, we're going to make sure that we have all of this information to give to them, so that it's such an easier process to get through. I'm telling you, it's going to be as smooth as possible if you already have these set up and ready to go. Next is we're going to have to start looking around for some lenders. So this is going to be a lengthy process and you might get overwhelmed and confused with this, but I'm telling you, just go with your gut and your heart. You're going to want to interview lenders. My best recommendation is to go online or go to a friend who previously bought a house. You're going to want to at least talk to like 4 or 5, and I call this interviewing. So you're going to want to call them and you're going to want to ask them questions based on what you want. Let's say that you're working with down payment assistance like we did in the last video. If you're in Michigan and you're working with the $10K down payment assistance loan, they did just get rid of the $25,000 loan, so it's only the $10K now. So if you were to get that, there are certificates and stuff that you are going to need to have, and then also you're going to have a lender that works with those type of loans and FHA. Some lenders have different requirements, so it's really good to make sure that you are at least interviewing 5 of them. You're going to want to ask them about what kind of assistance they provide, and then also you're going to want to ask like what they charge, what their rates are. So a lot of lenders could be different in rates. You never know, so you just want to get the best options that you can by looking to make sure that they fit your criteria and that they are able to work with FHA or they are able to work with certain down payment assistance loans. When you are interviewing these lenders, you're going to get a vibe from them while you're talking to them. So that's how I met my realtor. Honestly, my realtor kind of went and recommended my lender. We did it backwards. My realtor called me because I was on Zillow, and they ended up calling me because I was interested in a home. And I mean, I had a million people calling me, but she stood out the most because she answered all of my questions as thoroughly as possible, and she was able to get me answers like right then and there, and they were genuine and honest, and I really liked that about her. So I stuck with her, and then she recommended the lender, which I also really like too. You're going to want to make sure that you get lenders that are going to explain, and realtors that are going to explain all of your questions in very great detail. Once you start working with a lender immediately, you are going to probably get a predetermination. I recommend getting a predetermination because this is, if you're really honest and accurate and you know your income and you talk to your lender about it, they can come up with a rough estimate of what you could possibly be pre-approved for. So it doesn't pull, like it's not a hard pull from your credit, and it kind of gives you a range of where you can buy. If you are very accurate with explaining to your lender what your income is and what's going out and all that, they can come up with a very accurate number, but you have to be super honest with them about your income. It's a really good idea to get a predetermination though, because then once you get a predetermination, you might not be ready to be a pre-approved, but this is a good idea to get like a rough range so that you can start looking at houses to see what you like that are in that price range. Once you have a predetermination, your lender's going to look at this, and they're going to kind of see, like, they're going to look at your credit, they're going to look at your income, they're going to look at everything, and they're going to kind of tell you what needs improvement. you know, so you might need a higher credit score in order to get some down payment assistance, or you might have to lower your DTI, so your debt to income ratio. You might have to lower that a little bit in order to get approved or to get a better deal on a loan. So your lender will go through all of this with you to make sure that you're ready to buy a home. A predetermination isn't required in order to like start the home buying process. If you are really actually serious about buying, most realtors like to see pre-approvals. I require pre-approval from a lot of my buyers just so that I know that I'm not wasting my time providing my services to somebody who, you know, may not be able to afford what they're looking for, because we don't know. We're not the professionals here, so we don't know what exactly we can afford. We thought we could afford way more than what we could, but then again, you know, you could be very accurate, but this is again what professionals are for. So I always like to have a pre-approval because it also shows that you are very serious about buying a home, and we like to see that pre-approval letter because pre-approval letters only last between 30 and 45 days before they expire, and then you'll have to get like another pre-approval. So having a pre-approval letter already in hand, it really kind of seals the deal, like, hey, these people are very serious about buying a home and they want to buy a home soon. If you're working with cash, so if you just have like an all cash deal, you're not going to need to get a pre-approval because that is what you're going to need when you're borrowing money from a bank. But if you have an all cash, the best thing that we like to see, like as a realtor, because you can say you have cash, but like we want to see where the cash is coming from. So we're going to ask for proof of funds to make sure that, you know, again, we're not wasting our services and our time by just, you know, maybe showing somebody houses that just want to look around. This kind of saves our butt in the end, but it also helps you to show you what you guys can actually afford realistically. Once you obtain your predetermination or your pre-approval letter, we can now start looking for and start interviewing realtors and real estate agents. My next episode is going to explain in more detail the process of hiring a realtor. So we are getting extremely close to becoming homeowners, guys. I just want to say thank you for watching my videos. I am also looking at my notes, so I'm trying to not sound like a robot, but like I'm also trying to sound professional as I can, because I don't want to not make sense. So if any of you are following along to this series and are actively looking for a home, looking to buy a home, please comment like a hand raise or a hand emoji, because I just want to see who is currently looking for a home and who is also watching these videos. And if any of this series helps you, like the home buying process, because I start with episode 1 it starts step by step with exactly the steps that you need to take in order to become a home buyer properly and know exactly what you're doing when you're buying a home. Go back and watch that first episode. If you haven't, go watch the first, second, and third one, and then come watch this one. You want to watch them in order because they go in order. I really hope that these videos are all making sense to you, but if they aren't and you guys are confused about a couple things and you guys have some questions, reach out on my social media and ask me the questions. I promise I will try to get back to you as quickly as possible, and I will answer your questions as much as I know I can. You know, I apologize for not posting on Monday. We had like the stomach flu go around the whole house, I guess, and so I had it last week and I wasn't really feeling good. I didn't know if it was like the pregnancy or if it was just me being sick, and then the whole house kind of got sick, and my boyfriend got sick yesterday, so it's just us recovering now. We're just trying to feel better and recover, so I apologize. But anyway, I will try to make sure that I have the next episode up on Monday before 5 o'clock. Next episode is going to be explaining everything about like how we're going to hire a realtor and how we do that. How do we pay them? Everything. It's going to explain everything about getting a realtor or real estate agent, whatever you guys say, an agent or a realtor. But make sure you guys like, share, subscribe to my channel, and please watch all my videos. Hit the bell for notification. You guys will be notified when I post. I am super tired, and I'm gonna go upstairs and probably wash my makeup off and lay down and relax. And yeah, I'll see you guys next Monday. Bye.